Hello there and welcome. Welcome to you, my fellow cosmic travelers and seekers of the higher path. It's Psychic Cynthia here, spiritual psychic Cynthia Killian. And there is much cosmic shift getting ready to happen in the planetary and lunar energies and in the next week ahead. So I thought I'd just hop on here and make a video for you about it. I'm going to try to compress this all very succinctly to get started at least. And well, stay tuned if you want to know more about any of this, or subscribe to my cosmic newsletter, or follow me on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever you follow me. But let's just start with, well, right now we're in the fourth quarter moon phase. That's astrological terms. If you want to use astronomical, it'd be third quarter, or we just call it the last quarter. So this is a time of releasing, cleansing, and preparation for the new cycle ahead. It's time to maybe get rested up if you need to, get replenished if you need to. If you're feeling well rested and as if you have plenty of energy, then you can focus on the preparation part. You can focus on Marie Kondoing your house and decluttering and getting organized. Get ready, because the new moon is in about a week, and that's going to be next Tuesday. And so let's see, I wrote down that date. Let me make sure I get the date right. That's December 12th. Next Tuesday is December 12th, 2023. And that's the new moon in Sagittarius, 20 degrees Sagittarius. So the new moon is our time of monthly rebirth. By the way, this is the last new moon of 2023, so it's our last lunar rebirth for 2023. Let's make the most of it. It's an interesting new moon because it's forming an inconjunction, or a quincunx, same thing. 150 degree aspect, that's what that means. Well, mathematically, that's what it means. But it's forming this somewhat tense friction aspect with the planet Uranus. So we see a lot of unrest, and will be coming through with this new moon in about a week. Uranus is a principle of awakening, though. I mean, you might feel restless, but you can use that energy to awaken. You know, Uranus, I think it's a beautiful energy, and it has many dimensions, but it definitely has both a constructive and destructive expression. And sometimes when we're under the influence of Uranus, we just act like teenagers acting out, and we have to go drive fancy cars and show off, and break all the rules and do things we know we're not supposed to do, just for the sake of being a rebel, which, I don't know, it can be fun actually. I mean, I think sometimes you just got to throw off restrictions, right? You got to break free, and that is the quintessential energy of Uranus. What I'm saying here is you can break free, you can liberate, you can, expand and have breakthroughs. You can do that in ways that are uplifting and constructive, or you can leave a path of devastation behind you. And I've seen this many times with clients who feel like they have to, like the old saying goes, throw the baby out with the bathwater. Feel like they have to wreck everything they've built in their life just to create something new. And sometimes that may be necessary. I will say, sometimes you have to leave no bridges behind you, no bridges standing. But more often than not, that is not the case. So just be aware of that. And, it might be hard to do because this new moon is in Sagittarius, and it's not known, that sign is not known for moderation, but try to find some moderation here. Try to find wisdom as you look at how you're going to have these fresh new beginnings in about a week. Can you do that in a way that is wise? Can you do that in a way that is aligned with purpose? Uranus can take us into the higher cosmic energy. So think about aligning with cycles. Think about, spreading love. As you're breaking free, can you do it in a way that is love-based? that is kindness based. Yes, you can. There is a way. Okay, I'm telling you, there is always a way. Now, it doesn't mean that some people aren't going to be, unhappy with what you're doing. Listen, if you're making waves, there's always going to be somebody that objects. There's always going to be somebody that says, we don't do it that way, or you can't do that, or I don't know, they'll be talking crap on you. The haters are going to hate. And actually, you should take that as a compliment. I think if you're out there doing stuff, spreading light and making progress with your goals, especially if those are goals of a higher nature, if those are goals that are based in love and service and uplifting the all and not just one, that is fantastic. And yeah, as you evolve, if you're watching this channel, I'm going to say I think that you are at least interested in evolution of the soul and awakening your own abilities, your own gifts. And so I know you're on a path of empowerment. And as you gain more knowledge, as you become more empowered, as you gain power, jealousy will follow that, okay? Because you become a mirror. Those of us who are light workers are people on a path of awakening, like yourself. You become a mirror to others. The more true you become in your own heart, and I do think there is an aspect of Uranus that is about that, and there's definitely an aspect of Sagittarius that is about truth. So this new moon is in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is the truth seeker. So as we all come into our own truths, as you come into your own truth, as you live a more authentic life, a more sincere life, as you just become more real, that is going to mirror back to others any areas of life where they're not being inauthentic, where they're not being real, where they're not living up to their higher purpose. And now if somebody is also on the path, how they're going to respond to that is maybe with admiration and gratitude. They're going to say, thank you. Thank you for reminding me of where I have to grow more. Now, they might not actually say that to you, but they'll feel that in their hearts, and they'll be grateful for you, and you'll be an inspiration to them. But some have not really found their way here yet. Some are still resisting being on the path of growth. They're still blaming, they're projecting. Everything that happens in their life is the fault of the economy or this misfortune or that person. It's never because of anything they did or didn't do. In other words, the concept of responsibility, self-responsibility has not hit them yet. The concept of that you can grow, right? We can grow and evolve. That has not really sunk in yet for them, bless their hearts. So they're going to respond to you with jealousy, with contempt, with, not a very positive vibration. If they're coming from that place, your success, your awakening, your breaking free, your liberation, it's not going to be met in a friendly way, let's just say. So try not to take it personal. They're doing the best they can right now with, where they're at. So that might help you to lighten your heart load if you encounter any of this kind of friction over the next cycle, the next moon cycle, which technically doesn't start until that new moon next Tuesday, which again is 12/12/2023. That is not all that's going on, though. Okay, so I hope you keep watching just a few minutes more for your own sake, please. And if you don't, well, don't say I didn't warn you. We are also about ready to enter the the pre-storm of Mercury Retrograde. And the pre-storm starts on Saturday. And that would be Saturday, December 9th, 2023. And I think it's going to be at about 7 degrees Capricorn, for those of you who want to follow degrees there, if you want to look in your own charts. The pre-storm is like, the opening act before the main act. If you you want to think of it that way, for the retrograde that's coming up. And actually, we're already in the pre-Mercury retrograde shadow. So we're already feeling, I don't know about you, but I just noticed the last couple of days, I've had phone calls drop. I've had phone calls missed. I've been re-evaluating program offerings. I've kind of been thinking about throwing things out. I've been going back and thinking about re-offering things that I used to offer. That's because I've got clients that have been with me for like 10 or 15 years, and they're telling me they want me to teach some of the basic classes again. And I'm like, really? Aren't you bored with that stuff on psychic protection and the chakras and, I don't know, just basic spirit guide contact? Don't you guys already know that? But I guess they want to revisit it. So we'll probably be doing that in 2024. Anyway, I digress. Not really, though. You might find yourself going back and revisiting past ideas as we get closer to the retrograde. And really, you should just consider the pre-storm the beginning of the retrograde, even though it's not technically, like astronomically, okay? But by the time we hit that pre-storm on Saturday, that rate of orbit for Mercury will have slowed down. The gravitational pull is already there. And I tell you, we can really feel the gravity no matter what the signs are in a Mercury retrograde. And of course, that does change it. It changes the impact of the energies. And it also interacts with your personal chart. By the way, if you have Capricorn strong in your chart, if you have, planets around 7 or 8 degrees Capricorn in your birth chart, or important points, you're going to, feel that effect more profoundly, probably, than somebody who doesn't. Nonetheless, any retrograde, there are subtle shifts in the gravity, and that's why we get off, because that gravitational pull, it's very subtle. And especially those of us who are sensitive to energy shifts, we feel that. And you might start noticing some miscommunications coming on. There doesn't have to be a lot of that, but you've got to remember, in times of gravitational shift and fluctuation, slow down, be more intentional, be more focused with what you're trying to say. Realize that even starting with the storm, there is potential for misunderstandings. So starting on Saturday, there's an increased potential for that. And, technology breakdowns, appliance breakdowns, auto breakdowns, those transportation breakdowns, all those things occur with greater frequency during Mercury retrograde as well as the pre-storm. When does the retrograde start? Well, get this. The retrograde starts just about 7.5 hours after the new moon. So technically, at least if you're in the central USA or eastern USA time zones, are in Europe. Is that right? In Europe, you would be earlier, excuse me. Or later. I don't know, I get that mixed around. You'll have to look it up. Here where I'm at in the USA, it is technically happening on the 13th. That's next Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. I do know if you live in the Pacific time zone in the USA, it's going to be technically on the calendar the 12th, but it's almost on Wednesday. So we've got the new moon, and then about 7.5 hours later or something like that, we have Mercury going retrograde, actually going retrograde. And so that's the beginning of a 3-week cycle of really digging down deep, reevaluating. And listen, you can work with these energies. You don't have to be just a victim of them. It's true. They're, just like I said, during the time of Mercury retrograde and its pre and post storms, there are enhanced opportunities for misunderstandings. Our rational brains don't work the same. It's easy to forget details. So yes, it's not a good time to sign important contracts. Let me specify, binding contracts, anything that you can't easily get out of. If you're signing on, say, for, I don't know, a program, and it's with somebody and you know them, and you could get out of it later, that's fine. Okay. You still might want to slow down and really take your time. The general rule is during Mercury retrograde and its pre-storm, I would say, complete, finish up, follow through with those passions, those dreams, those tasks, those jobs, those projects, those relationships that have already been started before the retrograde proper, if not the storm. So follow through. Go back. Okay, listen, maybe you had an idea that you wanted to do something, and now you're going to do it. That's okay. It still can be harder because, the disturbances in the flow, or the changes, let's call it the changes in the flow. Basically, Mercury retrograde, is telling us to conserve our energy, to focus on those things that inspire us, that help us to be spiritually connected. We're not supposed to be focused on rational world issues when Mercury's in retrograde. Ideally, in an ideal world, we would focus for these 3 weeks at least, and maybe a week or two on either side. We would focus on resting, rejuvenating. We would go to spiritual retreats. We would get psychic readings. We would care for each other. We would slow down. We would catch up on our studies, okay? And that might seem rational, but no, not really if you're catching up. If it's something that's passionate for you, that really is feeding your soul, that is what we are supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to be trying to do some giant complicated product launch that we don't know what we're doing. We're not supposed to be going out into the unfamiliar and the unknown during Mercury retrograde. I mean, it's not ideal. You can do it, but it's not ideal. And yes, can we sail against the cosmic energies? Yes, you can set your ship to sail against the winds, but you better be prepared to row hard if you're going to do that. And you better have a lot of energy, and you better have a good team of rowers. And ultimately, you cannot change the way the winds are flowing. They will flow whatever way they are going to flow. In this case, they're flowing in the direction of Mercury retrograde. You can choose how you sail with them. And whether you want to sail hard against the headwinds, do you want to sail on rough waters, do you want to row hard? And my gosh, do I know some people that love to do things the hard way. I used to be that way. I understand. I probably still am in some levels, like when it comes to cooking. My husband says I'm a purist, okay? But with your overall life planning, you might want to consider opening up and flowing with the winds of cosmic change. So that way, it's not so hard. And by the way, that does help ensure success, harmony, abundance, joy, and good health, if you're interested in any of that stuff. Alrighty, not to mention loving, harmonious relationships. I mean, that is even more important, especially during Mercury retrograde, because that can get a little dicey. If we're trying to take on too much during Mercury retrograde and then we get stressed out and we take it out on our loved ones, I mean, how's that going to affect the quality of our relationships? Think about that. Think about that before you overcommit yourself or try to take on too much in this time ahead of Mercury retrograde. So as far as I'm concerned, it's starting with the pre-shadow on the 9th, and then we have the official retrograde start on December 13th, and then for 3 weeks after that, we'll be in the retrograde proper. Alrighty, well, I'll keep you posted as I feel needed, and you're welcome to share with me how you're doing through this retrograde, and if you have any tips for how people can navigate it and be more calm and at peace, I'm sure we'd all love to hear that. Alrighty, until next time, I'm sending you much cosmic blessings and peace to help you navigate this interesting energetic time ahead in December of 2023. Bright blessings.